Family Search is is connected with the Family History Library in Salt Lake City, which is the largest repository of genealogical information in the world. And they try more and more to make their resources available to everyone for free. It's a free website, free family tree if you want to do the interactive world family tree that they have. Everything is free. One of the reasons that I'm here is because Patterson Library is now becoming an affiliate library of the Salt Lake City Library, Family History Library.
Wow.
So I spoke wrong and I need to apologize. Those premium websites are not part of the deal. And you may realize that because of the materials that you got from them. If you don't have Ancestry, do you have Ancestry here at the library?
Yes, we do. We do have it.
Okay. Yay, that's wonderful.
But I don't know for how much longer.
Okay.
It's a system. It's on the whole system. Carrie said, so hopefully they'll go back every year.
Yeah. Well, I knew Prendergast had it, so does that mean that all of the associated libraries have it? Wonderful. They also have Find My Past, and I know My Heritage is something that can be accessed through library cards, so I assume that's available too. So it's quite a few then, really good websites. It's good. So you can access that while you're here, only using the computers that belong to the library.
Right.
So the same would be true with these, with the access that you gain from using the affiliate, from becoming an affiliate library. There are some records that are not accessible from home because the owner of the records, what I want to say, the custodian of the records, whether it's a church or a government or whoever it is, has limited the publication of those, so they're not public. However, the Family History Library is able to share them, and having these affiliate library locations is one way they can share them more broadly. So I can't see them at home either. We do have a Family History Center at our church building in Jamestown, but the hours are so limited and staffing is always a problem. So having these public libraries available with access to some of those restricted records, these are historical records, that it's a wonderful benefit because you'll find something and you'll go to look at it and, oh no.
I know.
Can't get
Right.
can't get
Oh,
to it.
access, you have to be at a family history center or library, but Westfield does not have that ability. Through the computers that you have, you can't bring your own computer in here and get on it.
Right.
Just like with
Right.
the Ancestry thing, but through your
What,
computer.
what is your church in Jamestown?
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day
Okay.
Saints. And that's the Family History Library in Salt Lake City is part of, I mean, it's not even sponsored by, owned by, I guess, anyway. But all of the things that are distributed to the public are absolutely without any string of any kind. I'll show you this program here in which you search for things. Family Search and Family Tree are two different things. Family Search is a research tool and gives you this video that I'm going to show you will go through the several headings at the top there on that toolbar, and he will explain very quickly, very well, all of the things, and I'm going to give you the links to those so you can go home and look at those because they're available anywhere as long as you have internet. Family Tree is part of Family Search, but what Family Tree is a worldwide collaborative tree of all the families in the world. Anyone can contribute, can put their family on there. Anyone can search it. But what they want you to do is to create a free account, and there's no tracking with this. It's not like, oh, I created a free account, now missionaries are going to come to my That's not going to happen because there's no tracking. They just want people to be able to search their families and keep track of things. And I'll show you in the second half of the presentation, we'll show you some of the things about family tree so that you know a little bit about what you would get into if you started putting things from your family on there. It's a great way to, it's a great holding place for your data, and it's a great way to share because you can then email your sister and say, hey, get a free account and go on here and you can look and see the things that I have put on there, the pictures that I have uploaded, the documents that I have taken a picture of with my phone and put on there. Rather than me sending you a physical copy of it, you'll be able to see that. So you can share broadly with cousins all over the world, anyone who has internet access and is willing to get on there and do that.
Can we share, we have quite a bit on Ancestry.com. Can we share
You
with
can.
Ancestry.com?
I have one of the links that I'm going to share with you is it's a video that talks about putting your family tree wherever it may be onto family tree, and they use a GEDCOM file to do that, which transfers all of the information over. It's not the ideal way to do it, but when people have a large tree on Ancestry, you're just not going to go one by one and transfer those things on there, you know. And you can search regardless of where your tree is. You know, you may find things on Family Search, you may find things on Ancestry, and put those details on your tree wherever
Just
it
to merge
is.
it is important.
But the trees on Ancestry are static. You can share them with someone particular by share, but they can't. They build their own tree.
They can't,
you know?
you can't
So then you
interact.
have duplications. So if your sister or brother builds a tree on Ancestry, they have the same parents, they have the same grandparents, so all those people are being duplicated. Where one of the goals of the family tree, worldwide tree, is to eliminate a lot of that duplication. Because when you put someone on, when you go to put someone on, the system searches for them. They're already in there, it's a match, and that goes into your...
Oh, that's nice.
Then you don't duplicate the person 16 times because there are 16 trees out there, you know. See, so that's the difference. Library affiliate. Another thing, there's an e-newsletter that comes out, I guess, and some special offers and products and what's new, and so you'll be able to post about those things that come up with the affiliate library. Okay.
Hi, are you here for the workshop?
See if this will
Oh, come on in.
work
Welcome.
to
Did you call?
show you this. This is
That's okay.
going to be about researching. So we'll go right into the family search portion of it.
There you go. Have a seat.
And I want to begin at 3.
Page that we were looking at, this is where you go and search all of those documents that people have transcribed or indexed. And there's a couple different ways you can do that. On the left-hand side, in this area is a search form. And you've seen search forms before, but this lets you go in and search all of the records that Family Search has indexed and researchable. And there's billions of them from all over around the world, hundreds of countries. If you just want to search the records from a specific location, well, we have this map over here. And on the map, you can see the different regions of the world. As you mouse over different regions, they highlight, and if you click, it'll pop up. It'll tell you there's 33 countries or regions that are listed here, and you can click on one of those, and it'll show you just the records. It'll let you search just the records from that country or area. If you want to search a specific collection, just one collection, you can come in here. It says find a collection, a specific one, and you can type in the name, and it will start sorting it down. Or you can click on the word right below there that says browse all collections, and it'll take you to a page where you can see almost 3,000 different collections that are published at Family Search. It tells you the number of records that are in each collection. They're sorted by name. You can see whether there's images associated with it or just text. And on this page you can filter too, because we have so many collections. So if you just wanted to see the ones from, say, British Columbia, you can click and we'll filter it down, and you can see just the ones that you're interested in. So this is historical records or documents, and it represents only those records that are indexed and searchable by the computer. Because they're searchable by the computer, I can do something like this, where I type in George Vincent, and I can come down and say, let's look at his spouse. Her name was Aura, and we're going to do a search. It'll go through all of the billions of records, thousands of collections, and it'll find that George Vincent, whose wife is Aura. We're going to come back, and I'm going to show you lots of tips and tricks about searching records, but let's do a really quick survey of the other kinds of data that's in the system. The next one is images, and it turns out that probably 70 to 80% of all the stuff that Family Search has acquired over the last 120 something years hasn't been indexed, and that's why we make that plea to have people come and help us get these records indexed, transcribed, so that they can be searchable and bring those ancestors to life off the records. But for those that aren't searchable, we have this tool which allows you to come in. You can type a location, and you can access over 4.5 billion images here. In this case, I'm interested in maybe Mapleton, Utah, and I can click. I can see the image groups that are available there. There's one of them that tells me how many images there are, 1,685, and if I click it, it'll bring me right into those images. They're organized in sets, and I can see what those sets are on the side, and I can scroll through the images. If there's a particular image that I want to look at, I can just click it, and it'll load it. These are awesome. So don't be afraid of looking at these image sets. Most of your ancestors are actually found in that, and it's a tremendous resource. Let's go take a look at the next one, which is Family Tree. The Family Tree is searchable. Many of you are probably familiar with it, but what you really need to know about it is that it's a community tree. It's a collaborative tree, wiki-like. Everybody has the ability to come in and make the data better. It's always evolving, and so this is the main place where you're going to document all of your genealogical conclusions. And for me, I can load the tree. It kind of looks like this. It'll start out with whoever my main person is. In my case, I chose my great-grandfather, Francis Bernard Alor, because that's the area where I typically start working. This tree has about 1.3 billion people in it from all around the world, going back hundreds and hundreds of years. It's one of the largest, most accurate, and fast-growing family trees online. The next kind of data is genealogies. It's important to note that what these are, they're also family trees. These are lineage-linked or tree data that people have built on their computers over the years. And they come to us and say, I really don't want these trees to be lost. Can I submit my family's genealogy to you? And we would tell them, we'd love to have it. What you really should do is put it in Family Tree so everybody can enjoy it and see it and make it better. But sometimes they don't have time or the ability to do that, and we allow them to upload their genealogy to us. You can see there's a place to do that right down here below where it says submit your tree. And people can come and search, and there's billions of ancestors listed in these genealogies. And you can put in a name, like if I was looking for my great-grandfather, he was Francis Alor, and I do a search, and it'll bring it up. I can see it. There's my great-grandmother Nellie or Ellen, and my grandfather Howard. These are static though. People upload them. They're not changeable. It's not community. It's not collaborative. They don't evolve, but we preserve them. and we allow people to search them and find clues from other people's research that they can then use to come out and build the family tree and make it better. The next kind of data is the catalog data. Let's go over to the family search catalog. You're probably familiar with catalogs if you've ever been to a public library. You can go into a public library, they'll have computer terminals there. You can type in keywords and phrases or author names, and it will search all of the holdings of that library. It'll search the books and the magazines, the DVDs, everything that that library has. In many cases, it will even search other libraries. That's the way you should think about the Family Search Catalog. It is a collection or a database of all of the holdings of Family Search. It's not a place where you come and type in Howard Allo and look for your grandfather, but it is a place where you might type in Pompano Beach, records, books, probate, and it will show you which collections you might find some of your grandfather's probate records in. We make all of our holdings, maps and books and gazetteers and everything Family Search has is in here, including all of those thousands of collections that are in the historical record. And we also link out to other catalogs, and so you can search WorldCat or the Archive Grid. And so if you find something here, we might have it in Salt Lake, but if you go to WorldCat, it might tell you, well, this title is available at all these other libraries, one of which might be nearer to you. Let's jump to the next one, which is books. One of the holdings Family Search has is books. It's a library. The Family History Library in Salt Lake City has 5 floors, and then we have hundreds or thousands of remote libraries scattered all around the world, and they have holdings on their shelves as well. And what we're doing is digitizing many of those books. Once those genealogical books are imaged and digitized, we construct ebooks out of them, and we put them available up here. You can come in and search by author or title or topic or anything. And I'm going to do a quick search here for a book about Johann Wolfgram. He was instrumental in Tonga. I find the book, I can view all 262 pages of that book. I can browse through the book just as if it was an ebook. It's a beautiful thing. Our goal is to get all of the key genealogical books that we have in the Family History Library and make those available online. It'll be through this books system. Really fabulous. The last kind of content in our little tour is the Family Search Wiki. You'll find it at the end of the sub-nav, and when you click it, it brings you into an environment that's very much like Wikipedia, except all of the content is focused on genealogy. Expert researchers, people such as yourselves, come in and do a brain dump of all their expertise of how to research in different collections, different locations, different time frames. And let me give you a quick example. My family comes from Baden, Germany. And if I type in Baden, I can choose one that looks, this Baden German Empire genealogy. It looks like a general purpose Baden one. And if I click search, it'll take me over to a page just loaded with information about everything there is to know about researching in Baden, Germany. I get a historical background, some getting started guides, various research tools. On the sidebar, look at all the links I have, how to read the records, major record types, some background, local resources. It's an amazing collection with maps and all kinds of information about how to find your family in Baden. And if you type in your hometown or an area where your family came from, you'll probably find similar things to what I have here in the wiki. Now what we're going to do, having toured the different kinds of content, the records, the images that are unindexed, the family tree as the ultimate destination for conclusions, the genealogies is a place where users store their genealogical trees that they don't want lost. The catalog, which is where Family Search publishes all of our content, and the books where we're scanning genealogical books and putting them up as ebooks to help researchers, and then the Research Wiki where people can store all of their expertise and knowledge for their own use and for the use of others. The next thing we're going to do though is we're going to go back to the records page. I want to show you some great tips on finding your ancestors in the records. Back on the historical record search page, the first thing we really need to talk about is strategy. Family Search offers 2 out.
Questions? Do you have questions at all?
I'm blown away how much they've got in there.
He's going really fast.
Yeah, but I mean, oh yeah, and that's fine, but I think it's great. I mean, he's just kind of watch the menu up there, you can kind of follow.
Yeah, that toolbar up there, he's just kind of going through methodically, going through everything. Yeah. I'm giving you the link. If you want to give me your email, I'll email you the link, which is a lot easier than typing all those funny little characters. And you can do that anytime right here. But to me, and I've done a lot of family history, and I've used Family Search a lot and Ancestry a lot. I'm no expert, but I would need to have this on one thing and something else where I could stop him and say, okay, I'm gonna try this.
You can do that with different
You
tabs.
stop, right,
You'll
and
have
I'm
20
gonna go do
different
this, and maybe I'm gonna back up and try
Right.
again, because it's information overload.
It's
And
overwhelming.
that discourages people, frankly.
That's what I thought, where do we start? Where do you start?
Yeah, it is, this is a lot, but this is what Family Search offers. Family Search is available to you anywhere. If you run into one of those locked records, then you would need to come to an affiliate library and
That's good to
look
know.
at that.
That's good to know you can.
But you could do it here and get some help, collaborate with people who have run into some of the same, perhaps, speed bumps that you do. Or you could do it at home. Nice, you can be in your jammies and slippers if you can't sleep at, 11. You want to get up and say, I think I'm just going to find out about Howard. And
I know.
in there.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah. And so,
Another brick wall.
Rabbit hole.
it's
Yeah.
just available
Start
everywhere. Okay, so I was thinking that I would stop here rather than dig a lot deeper into what he's saying, and you can investigate that when you get the link going at home and learn more about, because he's going to go into some more techniques of finding records. For people who are just starting, that's too much of a leap. If you're just starting, what do you do? Where do you start? Okay, so what's your experience? I don't know your name.
Tom,
You're Tom?
I'm also a genealogical outlaw.
Okay.
And dove deep. I've found out people's non-parent expected situations and stuff. I've gone to Europe and photographed records, churches that are probably only I have, so I should probably look at ones. I'm addicted to genealogy.
It's like that.
I've done a lot of it. Yeah, but every time you solve a new mystery, you have
More.
the power of two.
Yeah. There's another rabbit hole.
So, yeah.
Which sites do you use?
Unfortunately, well, that was one of the things he mentioned earlier. Really, if you're trying to, for example, break past a brick wall, you need to use all your resources at hand, and knowing which resources are available to you is really what kind of is part and parcel of what the problem is. Family tree, DNA, like the Mormons, a bunch of stuff that you can only access in certain places. Ancestry has a bunch, but they're kind of mainstream for America, but they only have so much. Gen match is a huge thing. What else? There's a bunch of, even white pages, like trying to find.
Yep.
Like the Gazetters,
Yeah.
like the early
Yeah.
Gazetters.
Newspapers.com has a lot of stuff in the U.S.
This gazetteer
Gazetteers,
for
yeah.
Germany, it's a huge thing. Yeah, and most of my ancestors are German and Irish, where there's no, and Italian, where there's no
Central.
So yeah, you have to find it. And knowing what all those resources are helps you
Yeah,
inform your research.
yeah. Sometimes you find a clue. I think when he was describing the research wiki, I noticed he said at one point how to pronounce things and how to, maybe that's not so important when you're just reading them, but how to interpret wording, like even in the headings on some of the, so it could be that in a language in Italy, for example, or Germany or Switzerland, which has 3 or 4 languages, you might want to know what the heading is in that particular census or type of government document. What is that heading? And so I think the wiki pages might tell you that. Guessing you're doing, so you're probably sophisticated research here because you've been over there asking for records
I know in Poland,
in Poland. Oh dear.
which used to be Prussia at the time,
Yeah.
there's church documents that are in German, Prussian, well, Prussian is nuanced, French, because Napoleon came over there for a hot second, and Latin.
I was going to say, and Latin.
So, and you have to be able to read all those church
Yeah.
documents.
And the handwriting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
even
the
the handwriting
handwriting's
is, yeah.
It's nice if somebody,
Very readable, very.
it's nice if somebody's already done a lot of that
Yeah,
research.
yeah, it's another thing you mentioned is
Yeah.
that people index
Yeah,
stuff.
they've already indexed that.
And,
So
I did that volunteer-wise for a while.
did you? Yeah. Mhm.
And I've corrected a bunch of
Yeah.
illegible translations.
They just got finished indexing the 1950 census for this country. And the way
It
that
was-
was
it
done
was
was
a great thing.
interesting, just as an aside. They, he talks about, this was done a couple of years ago. The 1950 census, they did it by computer. They indexed it, transcribed it by computer, and then they had teams of people go in and check what the computer had done for accuracy. It was a much faster way to do it because the computer was quite a bit of accuracy there, but then
Mistakes.
yeah, but then actual people, not just one but several, would go in, and now that's
Humans are
ongoing for a number of different things that they are indexing now. So if you were to get involved, you would find places where you were correct and just checking the computer. What the computer came up with, is that really Rodriguez, or is that something else? And that kind of thing. So that's indexing. So questions about where do you start? Who you want to know, where do I start? What do I do? Do you have some kind of chart, a family history chart that looks anything like that? Anyone is welcome to take one of these. They're just a very beginning, parents, grandparents, and maybe grades on here.
Gee, could I also grab some of those to put in the archives
Absolutely, you can
for
have the
people?
whole
that's
stack. I
great.
brought them for you. These, do you want one? No, you're good. Nice thing about this is when you're just starting, take this thing and write down all the stuff, so you're not having to flip back and forth in between whatever list you have or whatever note you have or whatever obituary you might have somewhere tucked into the family Bible. You just write it in here, and then you can get into a pedigree, you get into a tree. If you want to start researching ancestors, if you go into family tree and build a tree there, a lot of those people are already going to be on there. But the only way you can find them is by getting your line back to the first deceased generation. What happens from a privacy point of view is living people cannot be seen by anyone but the people who put them in. So my information, I have sisters, I have aunts, I have people who are living, and they cannot be seen unless I put them in. I can see them, but no one else can see them. That's a protection for all of us, for our privacy. So because it's a worldwide tree, that would be terrible, just terribly destructive to have it all available to everyone. So there's an option on there when you put someone's name in to mark them living or deceased. So you just need to be, whenever I'm doing research and I come up with someone who was born within the last 110 years and I don't know for sure that they have died, I mark them living, just in case. There aren't too many people that are 106 or 109 years old, but there are some. And so that's something that is a protection to us. Maybe you would be concerned about accuracy in that family tree. Well, it's a wiki kind of thing. So people will go in there and they will, sometimes people will put in casual information that they're not really sure of. But the system does ask you to put in a source of your information. And you can, if you're attaching a source from Family Search that you found in their record collection, you can attach that and put a citation, and that takes care of that, because then you can just say, when you add a detail, for example, a birth date, it will say, why do you think, or what's the reason you think this is correct? And you just type in there what your source was. So that there are two ways that you can look to see, where did this person get this information? The other way is there's a possibility of sending a message to someone through the system. So that if you see that George 205 put in a death date for someone and it was wrong because because that was your grandfather, then you can message this person through the system, and the system will email him. You can divulge your email if you wish, but you don't have to. You can receive messages that way. So that you can collaborate with people that way. Sometimes you can find cousins that way, distant cousins that you didn't know you had, because they too are working on this worldwide family tree. So there are some, I guess, not barriers, but there are some cautions in place there that make us all feel a little bit better about contributing to this thing that's alive, because it is live, it's online. It's like right now.
And if you add inaccurate information, it will message you.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about family tree then. I guess I've covered a couple of things. Setting up an account is not difficult.
Did you need to hear that, the setting up of account? Did you need to know that?
Some of you already have an
Because you
account.
came in.
I have an account with Family Search, but I don't have one with Family Tree.
It will be the same, I think.
So you don't have to.
You don't have to have an account for Family Search,
I know.
because
Well-
Family Search is just searching the records.
But my name does come up on it, so how do
Do you have to sign
I
in
have to sign in.
get to Family Search or Family Tree?
I'm not sure, but it's,
Yeah. Okay. Because Family,
Familytree.com.
it's Family Search.
okay, this is mine here. This
I
is
mean,
my
it looks like
great-grandfather.
this. Family Search Tree. Oh, that's not like that. Go ahead.
So if you look up here at this toolbar going across, this is Family Tree, which I'm on right now. take you back to that record search page that we were just on with that video. And you don't have to sign in to use Family Search. But if you want to participate with Family Tree, they want you to have an account. So that.
So I'm on Family Tree then?
Family Tree is kind of a common website.
So-
And Family Search has all the records, but it's kind of free to use.
Yeah, and so Family Tree is free to use also. And that's the one that's the
So if I-
live
if I
interactive.
sign in on here, this is Family Tree, so it says sign in.
Oh, are you in?
So that's Family Tree?
Yes.
Did you already do it before, Susan, or did you just do it now?
No, I did it.
A family tree for the human family. So, here's a little recipe about how to make an account. Did you say you already have one, Mom?
Actually, I think I just figured out from what you were just talking about, because occasionally the entries pop up.
Do you want this little how-to? This is just
So I just probably
a very
did that
simple
wrong.
how-to if you want to do that.
Yeah.
That's when you get started. So if you want to do the tree, that's what this is what I call a person page. There's also, when I go over here to view tree, this gives me a pedigree chart beginning with my great-grandfather, with his children on the left and his parents above and his wife's parents below. So this is a pedigree chart, normal type look on this. But if I want to go to him, I can click on his name. It brings up this little summary card. I can either click on his name again or I can go to person. I started to call this the person page. This is where I was before. The things that you can do here, these are his details. That's where we are right now. His vital information, alternate names, residences, things like that. Go down a little bit farther and you'll get to his family members. So it shows his wife. I'm all on the left here. His wife. The subject that you're looking at is going to have black font, and all others will have blue font, and they are live links, so I can go to his wife or any of his children by clicking on that name. Or his parents, so these are his children. And if there was another child I discovered, I could add a child right there. And then he was the youngest of the children in his family. So you can see him over there on the bottom right. He was the youngest sibling of 9.
I have a question. So if you had this Walter Frederick, but you didn't have his parents, where would you go from here? Say you have Walter Frederick, but how could you go
Good
to his?
question. From this person page, now this is the thing I work with all the time, so it's the thing I'm most familiar with. But you could type in his information into an ancestry search page, which would ask for his name, any date that you might have, perhaps a relative, a spouse, a child, and search that way. And Ancestry would come up with a list of records that might be him. In this case, I can go to Family Search right here,
children and parents will be listed because that has done research on that specific individual. So, like she said, research on different sites and then bring up different records that might, like marriage records or birth and death records from the region too, where their children and parents are.
So this is what it came up with. It uses the information on that person page, his dates, his places, and his name, and searches through all that stuff that they have, and comes up with possible records. This 1910 census is one of those things that he's listed. He was born in 1855, so he was on the 1910 census. And it shows his children in this little summary right here. And if I were to click on that, I could get to a point where I could see the whole record. And that would show, if I look down farther, when he was a child, and looked at it has to be he wasn't Fairbank, he was Walter.
So yeah, because she's doing, all these search results aren't necessarily that.
There are a lot of people with that name.
We have to kind of figure out, based on parents,
So you go to the
Birthday,
period of time
where
when
they
you
were
would have been a
born.
child and see if
Something
something comes up, if you know where he grew up, or any of those details, it will help you to refine that and see if you come up with that, with a hit for him. The other thing, I'm not sure why this screen is limited, but I'll use my computer screen, which I think is giving me a broader view. I'm going to close this search here. Go to, over on the right, see this ancestry here? I have an ancestry account personally, so I can do this from my computer. If you have your own ancestry account, you can do this. You need to be logged in to your ancestry account, and then it will just take this information, do the same thing. It'll search through all the records that Ancestry has using his
do you have to
information.
have that account open?
And you have to have it open, yeah.
And you're saying that all of this we can do here at the library?
You can do all
This
this.
tree thing?
Most of this you can do
You
at
can do
home.
that at home.
Okay,
You can do that anywhere that you have internet.
okay.
Ancestry, if you have a subscription, you said you have a subscription, and you open that, you sign into that on your computer, then you would be able to do what I can do, which is to click on this and come up with records for this person on Ancestry, which might give me hints about his parents. Because if I can go back to an early enough date, I can see him as a child or a young adult in his parents' home. And knowing a few things about maybe a sister's name or a brother's name that would give me some hints that this is in fact the right person. So some of those things will help. With women, it's so much harder because they change their name.
They weren't recorded.
It's so much harder.
I'm finding that you'll
My wife
quite
didn't
often,
change hers.
Sometimes you get lucky and find a census record that has where you're looking for the woman's parents or her maiden name, and you see the woman and her husband is the head of the household, and the census says there's a mother-in-law living with him, and she has the last name that is his wife's maiden name. That's happened just so nice to me a couple of times. Yeah, it's great because, but you become, it's like solving mystery. It's like you're a sleuth, you know.
so if you go in here and you go see where you fit in on this family tree, all of this stuff just comes up that everybody's already figured out.
Other people's stuff, if it matches what you put in.
So one trick I learned on Ancestry is to take the
You're
last
getting the
name
same
up
effect now. I think
See
there's a way to make it
first
smaller.
names
There's a plus and minus.
of the
over
entire
there.
household and populate what the actual
it just comes up with what they think, potential.
And some of them horribly misspelled their last name.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, spelling was
So just
optional
take the last
for a long time.
and search the rest of the household.
So this is, have you seen this before?
I haven't seen it on here, but I've done it on Ancestry. But
Okay.
it's very similar to what I found.
And Family Tree, some of the records are really accessible here at the libraries.
Well, on Family Search, that's true. On Family Tree, everything's accessible to anyone with internet, if they're signed in with an account.
All these things
So,
just come up automatically.
Search,
All these records.
in search, you come up with
I think
you come up with a historical record that says you can see this if you go to a family. That's
Right.
Tree. It should all be available, unless it's sometimes somebody who's really famous. That people have tried to make so many changes in their file, like maybe Ronald Reagan. Okay, people might go in there and say, or George Washington. They might go in there and say, I know this because I have a family Bible that mentions George Washington, and so I'm going to change this. Well, only so many times can you do that, and then they lock it. And that may be what happens. Royalty, if you get back that far, in some of the other countries, of Swedish royalty, I know.
Really only trace this back to Charlotte.
Yeah. But they will lock those. And actually, Family Tree, I think back to 1500 is about as far as you can go making changes and adding people. Because beyond that, there are a billion
About as far back
duplicates.
as the church records.
A billion duplicates in the system already. They don't run any more.
How far have you been able to get back?
Maybe Richard III. I've talked to people who are like, oh yeah, I can trace myself back to Moses. I was like, wait.
I've heard
It's,
people say that too.
especially in America, it's
Right.
16 and 17.
Right.
So with ancestry,
Tracing back to Europe
this is
from
what
here is
when
actually
it happens.
pretty tough.
Yeah, oh,
Okay.
yeah. No, I see that.
So I've traced back to Europe and Russia. And then it's about
I've gone back
within,
Europe, I guess
still
Norway,
within a couple hundred.
still Vikings, but I don't know. I think that's probably kind of
There's a
iffy.
find a grave,
Well,
there's
if you have any English
newspaper.com
on
obituary.
the had ancestors from Vikings.
1920 census, 1910 census,
Yes.
which actually is the,
Almost 20.
they have, I like the formatting of ancestries.
That's a,
No.
well,
Some
it's not a lot. It's
Yeah.
pretty common around.
And I
Yeah,
actually,
but, no absolute knowledge.
A lot of Swedish
But
people.
I'm wondering about, like Viking.
There's a Swedish
First family we got work on.
American book down Stockholm.
So this gives
There's
me-
no local,
this gives me all the details, that's what the household looked like.
so it's gotta be
In 1910.
further back.
This
I mean, that-
is my grandfather.
Came here, probably had some.
His middle
Big
name was
Scandinavian.
Hobby. H-O-B-E-Y. It was a
Oh,
family
not
surname.
hobby.
Not Hobby. Maybe they called him Hobby. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
He went by Hubby all his life. So anyway, that shows you a picture of what the family looks like. And then you can, when you're doing research, all these people were unmarried at the time. Ruth was still unmarried. So the girls still had their maiden name. This was a female. Cornelia Lake was a cousin who lived with the family. Did you see her?
Servant.
Pardon me?
Servant.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. But remember, there were a lot of middle class families had servants. And this man was a banker, and they lived in Milwaukee. Swedish immigrants and other people who wanted to do domestic service. So sometimes they lived with the family.
My Mayflower ancestor was an indentured servant.
Oh, an indentured servant, that's a different thing. All right. What else can I show you? I have a part of a video that I can show you about getting started on family tree. Anybody interested in seeing that? Would you like me to just give you the link? Okay, it'd be great to just ask questions, start something. You bring the computer, you brought the computer and you're going here. You have a family up here, parents, and is this your,
My husband's family, so,
okay.
all this is
Way back.
way back,
Way back.
16, 15, 14,
I guess
75.
a lot of people are fascinated with how far can you go back. And to me, one of the things that is fascinating is the family itself and how they looked. And this is Walter Frederick Meyer's book, my great-grandfather. And I brought this just because this is probably not the best way to do it, but I keep his stuff in.
Everything you can find.
So I wrote a little life sketch based on what I found out about him because I never talked to him about it, I never knew him, and my dad never talked about it. So I wrote a life sketch, and I have a family group sheet, and
That's just on him.
census records that I printed off years ago. This one was, wow, such a long time ago.
What genealogy is called.
And then some of the actual records that I, at that time, printed it off and highlighted his name so that I would have that.
I was kind of interested in the places we came from, the little towns in England.
Yeah.
Germany.
My family goes back in America for a long time. So I don't have so many European things. Back, yeah. This was a letter. These were letters that were written by other family members too.
It's a really good idea to put it in a notebook like that. I have boxes of some things.
Well, that's the thing. You have that box, and I can't find anything in the box. Every time I want that one thing, that
Yeah.
obituary that has
Yeah.
that family member's name, it's going through all those papers. So that's why I started to do this. I have the birth certificates and death certificates in here.
That's a
If
great
I
idea.
go to a cemetery, I have, and then I have the children, and they're, in this case,
Cemeteriesfindagrave.com, graves.com. Great things to see.
Yeah, find
they
a grave.
find a grave is a wonderful
Great
site.
stuff, too.
Good luck.
I just randomly go to cemeteries and take pictures and post them on my grave.
Do you? Just random?
And I was in Long Island, I found my 8th great-grandfather's grave.
Wow. Wow. Do you live here in Westfield?
No. Not much, not much. I heard this was happening. Drove half an hour.
I see, are you Air Force?
Yeah, let's see what I bought this in the shop.
My son's gonna be joining in a couple weeks and he should be doing
Should have been Air Force.
Air Force.
Sorry, that's,
Congratulations, appreciate the service.
is that maybe?
Well, he's gonna be doing some, it's complicated. He's doing search and rescue for the Air Force.
For the Air Force?
Yeah. Survival, search and rescue, evasion, and all these other things I don't understand. So.
We've kind of ended the war on terror, so it's probably in a safe place.
search and rescue, but that's so needed sometimes that, and we need them to be trained.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
welcome.
You know, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and now it's time for me to start. So
Time for you. If anybody wants to give me their email address, I will be happy to email you those links. I do have them here, just on a sheet of paper. And you're welcome to. Oh, how many of you use smartphones? Okay. If you get into Family Tree, one of the things, and I'll show you on my great-grandfather's record here, you can store pictures and documents on there also. There you go, Tommy, just in case there's one on there that you haven't seen. These videos are from the annual Family History Conference called Roots Tech, which happens in the spring. This year it's in March. It's from March 2 to 4 out in Salt Lake, but it's also virtual and free.
Oh, wow.
And so you can take hundreds of classes. And I find it just mind-boggling what they offer. But let me show you, let's go back to Walter Frederick for just a second.
I'm actually still military affiliated. I teach Army RTC.
Depends on which one.
Weekends.
And you live in Chicago?
I moved December.
Okay.
They actually want me.
Okay,
Yes,
so here on
Harvard.
Walter Frederick's page, if you look
I
at
still
this
have the house.
toolbar, we're on details, there's the timelines, there's sources, these are the sources that I've put in there,
Yeah.
and it's things that I've found on Ancestry.
Yeah.
Nobody's collaborated with me. This is memories. And in here, I have just one photo, and then, I don't have this life sketch in here, so I shouldn't put that in. But I have this one photo, but if I had another photo of him, and I do, because I'm involved with Family Tree, I can get a memories app, like a Family Tree app on my phone, which shows you a pedigree that looks like this. Okay, and then this memories app is a green background. It looks like that green background with the same little tree. You can find it at wherever you get your apps. And if I wanted to take a picture of a picture that I had, I just click on the plus button. I can add a document, I can write a story, I can add audio, or I can add a photo right from my phone. This works so slick. If you want to add a photo, you can take a photo, take from your camera roll, or you can take it from your files on your computer. And so I'm going to say take a photo. So then it opens my camera. And I can just do this, take the photo. It automatically goes to my photo gallery, which is all the photos that I have under memories up here on this upper toolbar. The gallery has all my photos for all my people. And it will automatically go to the gallery, and then I find it there and tag him, and it will go to his page. It stays in the gallery too, but it will go to his page, and then I can tag him and his face on there. If it's multiple people in a group photo, say 4 brothers or a family reunion or a wedding, you can tag each of the faces that's in there, and the whole picture will go to their page, as long as they're in the Family Tree already. So if you have a great aunt and you have a picture of her with her nieces and nephews, your cousins, then you can tag those people It will even go to the pages of living people, but no one can see that because you have to put them in, but no one can see that. They can see the picture on a deceased person, but that's it. So that's a very interesting tool. I like this, the idea of being able to store newspaper articles, obituaries, things like that on, so that you just have to
We have
upload.
someone that would like to pop in.
Hi, we're just about wound up here.
That's what I told me, I got the dime wrong.
But you can like get the information.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, yep. We have,
Well,
I have a handout about the websites and family tree, so just have a seat.
Oh,
Any other
I didn't,
questions?
sorry, I didn't know it was
sitting there.
to get the pictures, and so I have family tree.
Yeah, me too. You want to go to the app store and get that other one
And
called
what's that?
Memories.
Memories.
Yeah, it's called Memories. It looks like this. Here you go.
It was green, okay.
Yeah, it's a green background instead of a white background.
Okay.
and newspapers.com is great.
Just type in Memories
Obituaries.
and see what happens. It usually comes up.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Really
This is
welcome.
really-
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
If you have questions, I put my contact information on there. That's it. So if you get that, then you can do that picture taking thing with it and load it right up to your people. It goes to your gallery, then you have to identify your team.
Kind of what it is. Bring,
It is money.
bringing stories to life.
And feel free to
Thanks,
call
Bob.
or email. If you get in the middle of something or anything.
Yeah, I could sit there sit on my
Okay.
front porch in the summer.
You're just starting out.
Back
so you
and
have
forth
enough
from the
to
different
spread.
tags and fill
It's
in.
a fascinating,
Right.
fascinating thing.
I had actually, the first family I did, and it turned out, eight generations.
What is your name?
David.
David, I'm Jean.
Father's
It's
side of
nice to
family,
meet you.
Generations on number 8.
You are interested in family history.
Yes.
Do you work on it
Every
already?
one of them was male.
Can I have the keyboard for 30
Just
seconds?
straight
I'll
on
show you
down.
my site, my website.
I'd rather not.
Okay.
Show me on the
They married somebody,
But they don't care about that.
That's right, I
A
go
website
one little
for
tiny
your own
branch.
genealogy.
Yeah,
And then
Yes.
I stay right here with it, with
Yeah.
the
And
trunk.
so you have, you build your tree on
And I
your
didn't
own website?
Yes.
So
Until
do you use Ancestry or?
somebody went-
Too expensive.
Somebody went, had a dog. Then I went.
Living at
What do I do
the-
then? The dog, what do I do?
So you're a Chautauqua too, or?
I'm in West.
That's what our presentation is about, because the library now is
Used to live in Chicago.
becoming an affiliate
Yeah.
library with the Salt Lake City Family History Library.
Are you?
And
Is
so
that
What's your last
gives
name?
them a little more access to some of the records that are restricted from, because the custodian of the records hasn't released it to the public, it has released it to the Family History Library. So becoming an
And a big
affiliate
Cherry
library,
Creek
then you can
now.
see those restricted records on their dedicated computer.
Yeah,
In
I
Kentucky,
had
all lived up different
I
creeks.
had a,
Right, branches.
Tributary.
Yes.
I had a generation of
Another-
another family that I finished. And they were on French Creek. Just
These are the websites
the other side of Henry Lake,
that I
Pennsylvania.
was looking today.
Mill.
This one,
Yeah. Yeah, it's good times.
it's about getting started with family tree. You're going to do a bigger tree, but you know, because it could be, you could do it with a JetCom, but it would
All
be.
right.
Okay.
Too much research. And then this is about research. This
Thank
is
you
the
so
one I-
much.
Thanks a
Really
lot.
appreciate it.
Glad to have you. Would you like to have that?
Yes.
That's one that should talk about.
It's like, it's good for swimming.
Well, the pool.
Other than that, I can give you, if you want to leave me your email, I can email you those links and you won't have to type in all the funny characters to get there.
Yeah, I started my work life at the Green Pole Refectory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and and then I worked for Dr. Lester, who was there.
Red Brick Cafe.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Keep changing names.
And my dad
Someone
worked,
gets promotion, they kind of change.
my dad worked there. Well, nice meeting you. Thank you so much. And, yeah, it'd be nice to get a group together to,
It would, yeah, it would.
Some
Anytime you have a
discussions,
question or, you know, run into a snag, give me a call.
okay, great.
Or email me,
And your
whatever.
name is on this?
No, I put it here. I put it on that sheet. So you're welcome to just write it. Just write it down. Yep. Be happy to hear from you. If I can't answer it, I can maybe point you in the direction
Sure.
of something. You know. And I do texting too if you're.
Okay.
Actually, Rick Wall up here, down by Waits Corners.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I don't know where he was buried.
Still can't find it.
Fifth great grandfather.
Huh.
Possibly in Michigan. I think he went off and hung out with his dog.
Yeah, it is interesting when you find out that they, the whole family's from a certain place and then all of a sudden they die and, yeah. Totally different area.
As you said, most of your people are from Germany?
Most of my
Well,
people
and
were
Ireland, you said.
Ireland and
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Susan.
actually, mostly England, Scotland, and Ireland.
Mhm.
All of them.
Yeah.
I've tried to find them back there too. I actually met some of my family from Italy. My grandma's second cousin is still alive.
Is that right? When you were over there, you found them?
But after I got out of the army,
Okay.
I traveled to Europe and met this strange family members. But yeah, when the Italians came over here, they were like in Altoona, kind of that state area, and they worked in coal mines.
Mm.
And my grandpa, who was born up here, actually worked on the steel mill in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Crazy stories. All
Yeah. Yeah. So many immigrants. You know, our whole country
yeah.
is made up of immigrants, isn't it?
And then
Mine go way, way back,
I got-
mostly.
I got-
But then I have one line that came from Ireland in the late 19th century. And
Yeah.
so, you know, that's
same as
finally got to track that back a little bit. But
I got some Americans that were from 16 and 1700s, and others that came in the 1900s.
so you were able to trace Irish back that far, not in Ireland though. Oh.
I'm working on that. That's what I'm working on right now.
I've been told.
I have a GNA match, jet match, DNA match to a guy who lives in Ireland.
Oh.
Who's in County Tyrone, trying to look into our family. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're barely related, but I'm pretty sure we're related based on this. I was
Yeah.
like, I agree. He's like, yeah, we got nothing over here.
I think one of
It's
the
like,
keys.
I'm here and I can't figure it out.
I've been told that one of the key things with Irish research is knowing the exact place, and there are layers of places. Like we have a township, and we have a town, and we have a county, and we have those layers, but Ireland
Yeah.
has more.
Don't get me started on dairy.
Yeah,
There's dairy, there's left
Yeah.
dairy, there's
Yeah.
county. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But if you have the actual records, like if you can find actual church records, then you're involved. But
yeah,
it's pretty hard to find.
yeah. There's that, what he was talking about in that video with the search tools. I know they're out there taking pictures of these records and digitizing them. And
I've done it.
there are, have you?
In Italy.
Yeah.
But,
Wow.
well, my Italians are from the Alps, and no one has taken pictures of these church records. So
Mhm. And they let you
I
do
spent
that?
2 weeks sitting there until the priest came around to open up the church because that was ridiculous. But then
And then he
Then I
let you
spent-
look at the
Then I
books?
spent 4 hours taking pictures of the church books. And he's like, oh, you can't take pictures of this one. These people are still alive. And I was like, really? I've been here for like 2 weeks, and this is when you're deciding to get uppity about the church records. But yeah, I took a lot of, pictures, and I think I'm the only person that has pictures of these church books.
Cool.
And I've digitized them, I've put them online, and I've sent them to people inquiring about
Yeah.
people from ancestors from the town. But what was also cool is my grandpa's second cousin was still alive in town. And he had this little fedora, a feather coming out of his cap. He was holding a wheel of cheese and a stick spanking the donkey up the hill. And I was like, please let me be that guy. Still alive.
What was that guy doing? Really?
It's great.
That's so
And I was like,
awesome.
you're my grandma's cousin, second cousin. He's like, I printed a tree out of pressure in the hotel. He's like, yeah. And then we filled out the rest of the tree. And I was like, that's nice. So, yeah, it's good. Sorry, I didn't mean to encroach. I didn't ever sit myself do that. It's not. And it was just kind of like an introductory to
It was, yeah.
class.
It was mostly just to familiarize people with this family search so that they could come in and use the facility.
Right. Which I did.
Good. Yeah, this is my first time here in this library. I think it's really lovely.
It's a
And, yeah, it's beautiful. Well, beautiful. But they've got lovely collections.
And, well, you have Lincoln Street.
Yeah.
The beard looks good. That one doesn't.
Is this a Carnegie Library?
I think it, I don't think he, I think he helped.
Yeah, oh, he was famous for funding libraries all over the country.
Yes.
That's why I say they call them
I don't
Carnegie
think-
Libraries, but
I don't think he intends, but this one, I'm from
Okay,
Pittsburgh.
I'm sure- I'm sure
I'm
Nancy
from
will.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, it does look like it has his influence in it.
okay, I need to leave these with Laura. And did you want me to email you any of that information? Did you?
Yes,
you
yes, I
sorry.
did.
You already did that, I asked you. Perfect.
Have you ever read a book called It's All Relative by H.A. Jacobs?
I have not. It's all relative. It sounds
Yeah.
like a genealogy book.
I know the book, I've never read it.
A.J. Jacobs is a article writer for the Esquire, and he writes for a few other magazines. And he does what he calls lifestyle experiments.
Uh-huh.
His first book was The Know-It-All, and he sat down to read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica A to Z.
Okay.
And so there's 26 chapters, one for each letter of the alphabet, trivia about some word that begins with that, and his going through the Britannica. He's got a few others in there. The Year of Living Biblically, where he tries to follow all the laws in the Bible that won't get him arrested. For It's All Relative, he gets one of these DNA things and the genealogy thing, and he decides he's going to break the Guinness Book of World Records for largest family